And in accordance with the resolution of the House, business is interrupted for the presentation of inaugural speeches, and I have great pleasure in calling the member for Kiama.
Yeah. Thank you. Madam Speaker, this morning I rise to deliver my inaugural speech in this place, and doing so, can I start by warmly acknowledging your ascendancy to the speakership. I will say more about you later, but at the outset, I would ask that you resist the temptation to interrupt or correct any part of this address, as you have become so accustomed to doing so in the past.
But I'm allowed to do that.
Madam Speaker, it is without equivocation that I express my deepest sense of honour and privilege to serve in this, the oldest parliament in the country. I hope that I can uphold and build upon the traditions of the most distinguished service and respect that have been developed through the creditable contributions of so many outstanding individuals who have come here to articulate the views and concerns on behalf of their local community, and with the desire for a brighter future for our state. In rising this morning, I acknowledge the presence in the gallery of my mother Margaret Boucher and my father Malcolm Ward. A son couldn't have asked for more diligent, dedicated and loving parents. Like most parents, my mum and dad worked hard to give me every opportunity they could afford. Without their best efforts, I wouldn't be the person I am today. I thank them for so frequently giving up so much so that I could have the best chance in life of reaching my potential. Madam Speaker, when I was born, the doctors quickly diagnosed me with ocular cutaneous albinism, which rendered me legally blind since birth. My parents were told by the doctors in the 1980s, quote, "You'll need to keep him in the dark and behind closed doors." I say to those doctors today, thanks for the advice, but I think those doctors may wish to reconsider their prescription. At the age of 2.5, my mother started me on a violin with a tissue box. On the violin with a tissue box and a ruler to develop my bowing technique. At the age of 5, I was entered into the local violin section of the Shoalhaven of Stedford, and to my mother's surprise, I won the section. I would later play in the local youth orchestra, study at the Conservatorium of Music and complete several grades through the Australian Music Examinations Board, all by the age of 16. I later played in jazz bands in clubs and pubs and count these as some of my most memorable musical moments. All arts disciplines are a fundamental part of any civilised society and play an important role as an outlet for expression and talent. I still practice today, but rarely in public. After all, no one's a fan of a fiddling politician.
Ho, ho.
Particularly those on that side. Growing up in a small business family, I quickly learnt the value of hard work and remember well what Keating and Labor did to those people who yearned for effort to be met with reward by government. Even at this early age, I developed a passion for people who were prepared to take a risk and carve out a future fuelled by unwavering determination and unbridled aspiration. Small business people, Madam Speaker, represent the backbone of this state's economy. These people rarely complain because it's not in their nature to do so. But every one of these merchant pioneers make up the engine room of opportunity and represent what can be achieved when government takes a back seat as opposed to the front. I commend Barry O'Farrell and the Coalition for committing to removing 2 old regulations for every one that is introduced by this Parliament. Whilst I will always stand up for what's fair and right for working families, the system of occupational health and safety law in this state remains an encumbrance to small business and a barrier to jobs growth and employment. So cumbersome has the law become that the more business attempts to comply, these same businesses are merely undercut by those who fail or even ignore their obligations entirely. I place the House on notice that common sense must replace a system of common failure. As a product of a public school education, I commenced my education at Kiama Preschool, Lyrebird Preschool, Nowra East Public School, Bomaderry Primary and Bomaderry High. I am proud of the strength of our state school system and its intelligent and diligent teachers and staff. My teachers were good people who worked hard to provide a quality experience at all levels of my learning career. It gives me great pleasure to acknowledge Jo Parsons, the relieving principal of Bomaderry High School and my former year advisor, who is here with us in the gallery today. I thank Mrs Parsons and all my teachers who were such a great credit for to their profession, which I hold a deep and unwavering regard and respect. I'm proud of the education I obtained from the University of Wollongong and acknowledge the significant contribution this institution has made to the Shoalhaven and the Illawarra. And it gives me great pleasure to acknowledge the Vice-Chancellor of the University of Wollongong, Professor Gareth Sutton, who is here with us in the gallery today. Madam Speaker, Professor Sutton will be retiring later this year in this, the university's 60th year. I want to record in my first speech my deep level of respect for a man who has made a good university great. Professor Sutton has been integral to diversifying the Illawarra, and with his leadership, the academic maturity of this institution has grown enormously. My journey to this place has been anything but easy, but as I've often found, rarely does anyone slip into Parliament by accident. I joined the Shoalhaven Young Liberals at the age of 16. If there was a point in my life on which the rest of it turned, I have no doubt that this was it. I quickly became involved in branch activities, and before too long, became the branch president. After finishing my HSC, the then President of the Young Liberals, Tony Chappell, asked me to serve on the State's Policy Committee. After a short disagreement with the then President, now member for Bega, a dispute I resoundingly won, I became the Rural and Regional Officer of the New South Wales Young Liberals. I later served as Membership Officer and Political Officer, where I established the first Young Liberal branch in the Illawarra. The Throsby Young Liberal branch was established with almost 200 members. The Young Liberal movement has played a critical role in training the next generation of leaders. Madam Speaker, the challenge to leaders is to create more leaders and not more followers. As I look around this chamber, I see my friends, Mark Curray, the member for Oatley, Melanie Gibbons, the member for Menai, Matt Keane, the member for Hornsby, Dominic Perrottet, the member for Castle Hill. All are fine examples of young people who are passionate about their local communities and their service in this Parliament. All of these people have benefited from the incredible tutelage the Young Liberal movement provides. Regardless of politics or persuasion, I would encourage all young people to take an active interest in politics and public affairs. And after all, it's your future that is up for debate. As a student of the University of Wollongong, student politics frequently took precedence over my study. I was proud to establish the University of Wollongong Liberal Club and acknowledge its current president, Chris Whittaker, who is present in the gallery today. The University Liberal Club is without dispute the most active political club on campus, eclipsing Labor, who are now even more irrelevant than the campus Greens. I'm conscious that I'm the first person from the University Liberal Club to be elected to Parliament, and I sincerely hope that I'm the first of many. Madam Speaker, I'm proud of my ongoing connection with the University of Wollongong and continue to serve the university as a graduate member of the University Council alongside my friend and fellow graduate Kelly Knowles-Lyon. At the age of 22, I was elected to Shoalhaven City Council as the youngest councillor in the city's history. It wasn't before too long I found the headlines, warring with the then Mayor, Councillor Greg Watson. If you learn more from your enemies than you do from your friends, then Councillor Watson continues to be a veritable fountain of knowledge. In spite of our disagreements, I respect and commend his 38 years of service to local government in our district and acknowledge his continued contribution to the Shoalhaven. Local government was where I cut my teeth on the issues that matter. But more importantly, I had the unique opportunity to meet some amazing people, and I have been fortunate to maintain these outstanding connections with our local community. Be it standing up for the residents of Lyndhurst Drive and fighting alongside Ken and Louise Carger the imposition of thousands of dollars in resident contributions towards footpaths, or be it standing alongside the Kangaroo Valley community to oppose the then New South Wales Labor government plans to extract billions of litres of water from Tallowa Dam, local government is the melting pot of so many interesting personalities and unique individuals. In 2008, I was re-elected to Shoalhaven City Council and subsequently elected Deputy Mayor unopposed. This was a position I held until I stood down to contest the state election. I met many good friends during my local government journey, but one that stands out above all others is my friend, the Mayor of the Shoalhaven and newly elected member of the Legislative Council, the Honourable Paul Green. Paul has been like the older brother I never had, and there's probably a reason for that. But in spite of our political differences on some matters, his friendship has enriched my life. I thank Paul, his wife Michelle, and their wonderful family for allowing me to share a space in their life, which means so much to me. It is certainly tradition that one should thank those that assisted us in arriving in this place. And at the outset, I believe it is appropriate to thank the former member for Kiama, Matt Brown. Matt Brown and I share one thing in common, a passion for serving the district we love. I thank him for his service to our community and wish him well in his life's journey. Whilst time prevents me from acknowledging all those that have made a contribution, rest assured I am so grateful for each of your tremendous contributions and support. Firstly, I need to thank the thousands of dedicated Liberal voters in Kiama that have faced so many disappointments and have remained faithfully loyal to our party. To the hundreds of Liberal Party members from Gerringong, Berry, Bomaderry and Kiama branches, and in particular Shoalhaven Young Liberals and the University of Wollongong Liberal Club, thank you. To former Senator John Tierney, thank you for being a great employer, a wonderful mentor and a reliable friend. I note your presence in the gallery today and thank you most sincerely for the opportunities you gave me and the advice you continue to provide. Another friendship that grew out of my local government beginnings is Colin Waller. Whilst Colin is now the Secretary-Treasurer of the New South Wales AHA, he was then the local Berry publican where my Apex Club used to meet. Colin has been a genuine supporter of local young people and walks the talk when it comes to building opportunities for the next generation. In so many respects, I can only aspire to follow in his footsteps. To Ashley Priest, Mark Grimson, Paul Rowland, former Senator Tony Mesner, Neil Hartwell, Anthony Strick, Lee Nelson, Dennis and Marilyn O'Keefe, David Boyd, James Parrish, Morgan Forrest, Al Cameron, Alex Dorr, Rob Lego, Philip Pease, Matthew Jackson, Fiona Hudson, August Archulina, Javid Stevens, Stephen Marshall MP, John Gardner MP, Councillor Warren Steele, Councillor Trevor Fredericks, Councillor Juliet Arkwright, Councillor Jim Major, Arthur Dean, Brendan Lyon, Michaela Packer, Matt Cross, Bede Krasnich and Clayton McGuinness, my thanks for your friendship and support. To my local government colleagues, David Bennett and Nigel Soames, thank you for your enduring friendship and support. You have always gone well out of your way to help and sustain my goals and objectives for our community, and I am extremely grateful for all you have done and continue to do. To Shoalhaven City Council General Manager Russ Pigg and Senior Staff Rob Donaldson, Peter Dunn, Tim Fletcher, Bill Patterson, Peter Adams and Carmel Crowe, I thank and highly commend you for your dedication to serving local residents. Whilst the media don't tell us what to think, they do tell us what to think about. And in regional New South Wales, the local media are an important part of the public debate. I would like to thank John Hanscom, Adam Wright, Glenn Ellard, Claire Dressler, Melissa Jaros, Matt Snelson, Krista Thomas, Adam Straney, Danielle Senazinski, Alex Arnold, Ben McClellan, Carolyn Clark, Nicole Hasham, Nick Reinberger, Nick McLaren and Peter Riley for allowing me an opportunity to have my say. A special thank you must be reserved for the Yoda of local news radio, Graham French. I call him the Yoda of local news radio, not just because of his journalistic longevity, but his appearance is strikingly similar in all respects. I must thank the well-oiled team at Liberal HQ. Madam Speaker, I seek an extension of time.
Question is for an extension of time. All of that opinion say aye. Aye. To the contrary, no. The ayes have it. Please proceed.
At Liberal HQ, led by State Director Mark Neame and the incredibly patient Campaign Director Chris Stone, your success has been our success. You ran an incredible campaign and I thank you for exceeding even my expectations. To Michael Photius, I advised the House that Michael was a good friend before he became a lobbyist. Thanks for all your encouragement over many years. To Robin Bramley, Shirley Hollis and Paula Turnbull for weathering every condition for hours on end at pre-poll, thank you for never giving up hope. You are truly an inspiration. To local Upper House member John Ajaka, thank you for your never-ending advice, support and friendship. To my Aunt Brenda, none of you have ever witnessed anything quite like my auntie. She flew halfway around the world from Edinburgh to spend 10 weeks on the campaign trail, and for a woman who used to campaign for the Scottish National Party, boy can she pack a punch. To my electorate office staff, Vicky Henry and Brian Fishpool, my thanks for your continued service to our community. I must make mention of the senior members of my campaign committee. To Nathan Barton, thank you for going well out of your way to ensure we had a campaign that was equipped with the best IT resources eBay could buy. To Paul L., a young man who was raised by his grandparents and achieved so much in spite of the obstacles placed in front of him, thank you for never ever giving up hope and for always being there and for being a tireless worker. To Nicholas Makovsky, you couldn't ask for a more dedicated and loyal friend and supporter. Nick ensured the campaign office was not only fully staffed but frequently amused and entertained. Nick was our campaign fixer and I thank him for his outstanding dedication to the cause. I cannot go past my friend, council colleague and campaign manager Andrew Guile, who provided the maturity and considered opinion required for this campaign. My only hope is that you will one day be given the opportunity to serve in Parliament so that your true talent and abilities can be realised. To my parliamentary colleague and close friend Rob Stokes, thank you for giving up so much of your spare time to support a campaign in a world away from your own. Now I must turn to 5 very important people without whom I wouldn't be here. To James Boland Rudder, James is unquestionably without peer when it comes to simply getting on with the job. This always fearless, sometimes shameless, but never capricious character was one lean, mean campaigning machine. Thank you for your support. Madam Speaker, when I first met you about 10 years ago when you were serving as Deputy Mayor of Shoalhaven City Council, I would have never thought that we would be part of this most amazing journey. From your pre-selection battle in 2002 to your stunning election victories in 2003 and 2007, both you and Aussie have been a warm source of advice and truly wonderful and invaluable friends. I simply wouldn't be here without you both. To the Honourable Don Harwin, his intellect and political abilities are renowned and respected, but his friendship means so much more. If there's one trait that defines Don Harwin, it would be his commitment to helping others make their contribution in public life. I think this is one of those rare occasions where I can speak for both of us, Madam Speaker, in saying that Don Harwin has been critical to our mutual successes. Whilst many may talk of what they achieve in politics, Don Harwin's achievements now speak for ourselves. Ben Blackburn is someone who is known to many people in this place. I first came in contact with Ben through the childcare and protection agency Bravehearts. Ben is a remarkable young man who I have the enormous trust and confidence. His passionate dedication to the campaign was nothing short of impressive, and his continued contribution as one of my electorate office staff and a close friend is invaluable to say the very least. It is appropriate that I conclude my long list of thanks with a person who has backed me right from the very start. Luke Sikora has been a part of every successful election campaign I have ever contested in public life. Everyone in politics needs someone like Luke, and to those that do, none of you have anyone half as good. Apart from being a skilled campaigner, a relentless worker and an enthusiastic Liberal, he is a friend I simply couldn't do without. While success has many fathers, I have no doubt that I wouldn't be standing here today if it wasn't for a great mate and a wonderful friend. Madam Speaker, I know that there has been somewhat of a competition between you members in their inaugural speeches as to who has the best electorate. Whilst all of you have been sterling advocates of your individual communities and have extolled their virtues with passion, I know you'd all rather be representing Kiama. And I know it's true, for why else would most of you holiday in my electorate? Kiama is truly where the mountains touch the sea. From the lush green fields and natural waterways of the northern Shoalhaven to the picturesque and seemingly never-ending undulation of the Southern Highlands, through to the sweeping sandy coastal towns of Gerringong, Minamurra and Kiama, and up into the city of Shellharbour, including Shell Cove and Albion Park, Kiama is without doubt a magnificent place to call home. Be it the best beaches in Australia, bushwalking in Kangaroo Valley, a quick lunch at the Burrawang Hotel, a picnic at Killalea State Park, a coffee in Berry, seeking a thrill at Jamberoo Action Park or taking in the sights of the Illawarra Fly, the electorate of Kiama is a moving portrait of magnificent beauty and natural diversity. With such an environmental resume, is it any wonder that residents in my electorate were concerned about a regressive planning system that progressively saw local communities lose a right to have a say in the future of their urban environment, and a Labor government that saw only financial value in public open space and not the real social value for families and communities? Madam Speaker, I am a committed environmentalist, but this important debate is often lost on pseudo-greens that see only the politics of protectionism rather than the true value of conservationism. Environmental protectionists would rather defend the need to do nothing with our environment than recognise that life is about balancing the need for sustainable progress with conserving what defines our district. How else can you make the case about protecting our environment if people cannot be allowed to experience what is so important? Madam Speaker, as someone who has witnessed the loss of life on our local roads, I look forward to joining with you in taking up the battle to upgrade the Princes Highway. This is not just about safety. This is a major artery for economic investment and jobs. It will be with great alacrity that I shall continue to stand up and fight for funding and see the delivery of necessary improvements to the Princes Highway. Indeed, I thank all of those who have travelled by coach or car up the Princes Highway to be here in the gallery, in the Waratah room or out in the foyer today. I'm delighted that I could share this special moment with you as I commence this most interesting chapter of my life. Thank you all for making the considerable effort to be here today. In addition to the Princes Highway, I will deliver better safety measures to prevent accident and injury on the Kiama Bends, an upgrade of hospital car parking at Shoalhaven Hospital, improvements and upgrades at Shellharbour Hospital. I will fight to see the preservation of public open space at Killalea State Park. I will continue to advocate for those with disabilities and in particular young people with impairments to ensure they get the best chance in life. And I will champion the work of such groups as Bravehearts for stronger child care and protection laws in New South Wales. On this point, I acknowledge Wendy and Roger Woodward, the founders of the South Coast chapter of Bravehearts, who are here with us in the gallery today. Madam Speaker, to quote former US Speaker of the House of Representatives, Tip O'Neill, all politics is local, and local government plays a critical role in the delivery of the most vital services. However, my experience to date is that city areas are serviced by simply too many councils, which have produced unnecessary duplication of municipal services, and all local councils would be better off with governance changes that produce more efficient local government. The 1993 Local Government Act has weakened the ability of elected representatives to participate in civic process. Conversely, the distinct lack of accountability measures, such as the requirement for local representatives to exercise due diligence and fiduciary responsibility, such as company directors, must be made. These changes would coincide with a reduction in the number of councillors, which should correspond with an increase in remuneration. I stand here today with a lot to live up to. The seat of Kiama has been held by some amazing figures, including former Premier Sir Henry Parkes. Former Premier Sir Joseph Carruthers was born in the district. However, my most memorable and regarded would have to be Sir George Fuller, former member for Kiama and Premier whose government passed the Harbour Bridge Act in 1922 and outlawed monopolies in 1923. Fuller was an economic rationalist and a social liberal, a category in which I firmly and proudly reside. So much of what Fuller faced is history repeating. The need to streamline government in an effort to ensure infrastructure investment and economic growth against the midst of a union movement consumed only with itself and not the broader needs of New South Wales. Madam Speaker, I am proud to stand here today as the first ever Liberal member for Kiama. I am a progressive Liberal who believes that government must provide services to those who need them and opportunities to those who want them. The business of government should never hinder the inalienable rights of every individual to reach their full potential. I have no doubt that this government will be the people's vanguard of a free and confident society. I thank the House.
Congratulations.
Thanks very much. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Well done. Love your work, mate. Really, really well done. Really well done.
way. It's current, up to date.